Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Brake reminder and force brake help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force brake activates to rest your eyes. Eye care U. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Brake reminder and force brake help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force brake activates to rest your eyes. Eye care U. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's race day 33 for AMX Global Beta Season 2. And boy, have we got an American doubleheader that we know that you're all going to love tonight. And, well, it's the returning duo that have been reunited after a little bit of a hiatus. My name's Alex. I'm ably going to be assisted by my good buddy in the US of A. Hi, Brad. How you doing, buddy? It's been a while, but good to be alongside you back on comms for this particular race day.
Yeah, Alex, it's good to see you again. I know things have been busy on both sides, and we've been kind of separated for a bit, but it's nice to get us back together to commentate on what should be a good American Sunday evening, or I guess it's technically Monday morning for you, or Sunday afternoon, depending on where you're at in the world.
Well, the first part of tonight is race 20 for AMX 5. $5 entry, $161 total prize pool. And we're going to be racing the Nascar trucks at US Speedway. It's the Chevy Silverado that's going to be the weapon of choice for our competitors tonight. It's based in Lakeland in Florida, and as you can see, 35% humidity, 44 degrees track temperature, partially cloudy, 3 km/h wind in terms of the atmospherics around this circuit, but there is plenty of sunshine up above the Florida skyline. So here is the schedule for Beta Season 2. June 4th is now day 33. June 6th and 7th later on this week, we'll have some more bumper action here on AMX Global for days 34 and days 35. You can also head to amxrace.com to sign up, no matter your iRating or your skill level. We're here for everybody. And here is the prize pool. 161 total US dollars, $25 for a win. Fastest lap of the race, $5. So if you are even in a field that is 15 strong, you're still going to make your money back as long as you finish within over 80% the total time run by the eventual race winner. And the payout is at the season end. So if you have a DNF, a DQ, or a no-show, no bueno. You don't score any points, you don't get any prize money. So as we say, amxrace.com, it's here for everybody, no matter your skill level. And at the moment in the AMX5 rankings, Gael Valero, the plucky Frenchman, is at the top of the standings. Gaston Coulharvey, one of several competitors here tonight, is hopefully going to close that gap. He's on $238 so far. Corentin Guignez on $220. Diego Villarreal, as we know very, very well, has started getting his act back together when it comes to qualifying. He's P4 in the standings on AMX5. Jackson Resenge, Caio Gaspar, Diego Villarreal, Fabio Zampolini, Victor Miranda, and Kayung Park round out the top 10. But what I'm going to do now Brad, it's over to you to take us through the track and the car that we're going to be using this first of 2 races here tonight on AMX Global Beta Season 2.
Yeah, so the track that we're at this evening, Alex, is going to be USA International Speedway. A fun fact, this track does not actually exist in real life anymore. Down in the Central Florida area, which makes it a great year-round facility. It hosted the Southeast Asphalt Tour, super late model stock cars, and the USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series. Was a very, very popular 3/4 mile high bank paved oval track. Absolutely loved this track. Unfortunately, again, does not exist anymore, but that is where a lot of the fun with iRacing comes in. Is this track is laser scanned. It will exist forever in the simulator for all of our drivers to know and love. The infamous car of tomorrow in NASCAR was developed here at USA International, which makes it, very, very important. And speaking of NASCAR, of course, we're not running a NASCAR. We're running the NASCAR trucks. We're running the 2008 trucks, as we see the 327 there of the wonderful Fabio Zamperlini, 625 horsepower, 1,500 kilos. Wonderful, wonderful fun 2013 Chevy Silverado truck. This is one of the original trucks that were presented here in NASCAR and iRacing. They're a handful to handle. They're a lot of fun. You have to muscle them around a bit, and you have to be very, very smart with your driving. They're a total challenge, but they're super fun, and it was specifically designed for NASCAR's uses, which is ovals, super speedways, short tracks, occasionally a road course. And I will tell you that if you've ever jumped on iRacing and you're starting to learn, this is probably going to be the most fun you'll ever have whenever you're trying to learn how an oval works. You jump in a truck and you throw it around an oval course. And Alex, let me tell you, it is such a fun time to take these trucks around USA.
Yeah, one of the bigger personalities in global motorsport, Kimi Räikkönen, actually competed in NASCAR trucks a few years ago and actually had a bit of a blast. He didn't do too badly either. And there we have got the the Zoom King on. There it is. There's Fabio Zamperlini himself, the 327, one of a regular amount of Brazilian drivers that occupy the grids here on AMX Global. We've got Fabio Zamperlini, Gaston Coulthard, and Diego Villarreal. It's going to be a 10-minute qualifying session and a 30-lap race. So, as we discussed a little bit earlier on, it's $25 for a victory and $5 US. So if you get the maximum amount of bang for your buck out of this AMX5 race, you're going to take home 6 times your entry fee. That's not a bad multiplier, is it, Brad? As we have a look through the results from practice, Fabio Zamperlini quickest by 64 thousandths of a second, ahead of Gaston Coulthard and Diego Villarreal de Leon, taking 3rd position, covered by just under half a second. But NASCAR trucks and NASCAR in general, people say, yeah, it's just about turning left, but there's a lot more skill to this deceiving art of racing, isn't there?
I wish it was as simple as push the wheel left, go straight, push the wheel left, go straight. Oval is kind of where a lot of my iRacing time goes in. There is my prime example of I wish it was as simple as turn left, go straight. As we see there, that is going to be the number 3 of Gaston Coulthard, immediately going out on a lap, immediately sliding it off and drifting it through. There's a lot that goes into ovals, and people think it's just a simple gas, lift. You have to be smart with your brakes. You have to be able to shift and transfer the weight, turn in and turn out. It's a lot more technical than you think. And, my primary discipline is F1 before I came in. In iRacing, I do ovals primarily. I wish, like I've said it 5 times now, turning left was all it was. But one of the first things I had to learn in ovals was how to actually use your brake. Because you do have to brake going into the corner entry. You roll through the corner, through the mid, and then you slowly accelerate out of the exit and try to gain as much speed as you can. Fling your car as close to the wall as you want, or truck in this case. And then you just repeat that over and over. And in a 22-second lap, I mean, you don't get a second to relax and think. You are constantly, okay, I'm out, I'm in, I'm out. And if you have one bad corner, that can compromise 3 or 4 laps here around USA International. So it's a unique challenge for these drivers. And as we can see by their license ratings here, Fabio Zamperlini is an A rating in ovals, with Diego Villarreal being a C rating, and Gaston Colharvey is actually rated as a rookie. Doesn't mean they're bad at it. It just shows the experience difference for them. So Fabio Zamperlini is going to have a lot to bring here at USA International, I think.
Yeah, you can also see on the left front wheel the camber. The camber of the left front wheel is specifically designed. It's actually pointing as if the outer edge would normally be a little bit more in contact with the tarmac underneath it, like you can see on the other three corners on the Chevy Silverado. But that is to help with regards to turning the car in. The trucks themselves, and also Nascars, the steering wheels don't point straight. They're actually a little bit left-hand down. So it's actually helping to gather, as Brad was alluding to, going through the corner. One of the good things about USA International is the fact that it has a aura of Talladega because of the high banking, the walls, the writing. It's very much, if you've seen The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Gaston Colharvey's just done a 360 on the start-finish straight. But he's still only 85 thousandths, and you know what? Marco and I, over the past few broadcasts that we've done together, we have been sort of like not trying to throw each other under the bus when it comes to saying, will Diego Villarreal de Leon, will Diego actually do a qualifying lap? We're 40%. We're now coming up with a replay of Gaston Colharvey's spin. And you can just see, turns it in, back end's a little bit loose. He's going to put the power down, and steps out to the right, and then steps back out to the left. And he's holding onto the brakes, and well, hell, that was a bit like Ken Block and Jim Kahn back in the day. Unfortunately, before we lost Ken earlier on this year. But at the moment, Fabio Zamperlini, best lap from him so far, 22.586. One of the other things that I think a lot of people who are, I would not say misinformed about NASCAR trucks, but are relatively uneducated, then they haven't had the understanding that yourself as an oval driver on iRacing, yourself, Brad, is that when people say, well, what are the terminologies when the car's like looking like it's cornering pretty well, and then with the back ends of it sliding, it's always tight and loose are the two definitions. And I learned that through watching a lot of NASCAR a few years ago, that if it's loose, the back end's going to start be a bit more slidey going into the corners. And I'm not too sure whether that could be said for Gaston Colharvey, because the rear end of his NASCAR truck has definitely been a bit more on the loose side than Fabio Zamperlini tonight.
Yeah, when you start learning to race in NASCAR and to race in ovals and stock cars, you do learn those terms tight and loose. Tight usually means you're fighting to get the truck or the car to rotate through the corner, and loose means that it's trying to go more than you want it to, which usually results in the back of the truck becoming the front of the truck, and you're looking behind you, which isn't what you want. Now, one of the fun things with AMX is that we run fixed setup racing. So every driver has the same setup. It's something that whenever you're a rookie in iRacing, you are very thankful for, because setups are very daunting if you don't know what you're doing. But as you go up in classes, you can find several tenths of a second a lap just by tuning that truck or that car to how you want it to be. For example, I like a car that is more loose on exit, tight on entry. That is just my personal preference of how I run. I run open wheel modifieds primarily in the C class, and that's how I like them. I like them a little bit looser on entry and a little bit tighter on exit. Just because when I'm getting on the power, I want a straight line. Some drivers, that's the challenge, is figuring out how you like your truck or how you like your car. And it could literally just be that the fixed setup is something that Colharvey doesn't like. His times don't show it because he's 8/100ths of a second back on Zamperlini, but it could be just something simple as that, or it could literally be that he's getting just a little bit too greedy there against the yellow line on exit, and the rear tires breaking just enough traction. I've had that happen hundreds upon hundreds of times. I've put in several thousand laps on USA International in my time here in iRacing. So it is one of those things that, you just kind of learn as you go. And sometimes it works out. Sometimes you have those little mistakes and you end up back of the truck becomes the front of the truck.
Yeah, very much the case. These two drivers at the moment, their terminal speeds, as in like highest speeds, 201.6 kilometers an hour. That's close to that's about 120 miles an hour that these. Oh, Gaston's rearranged the front right fender on that Chevy Silverado truck. That's not what you want. But I mean, the good thing is that we're now able, thanks to SDK through the live timing, we're actually able to see a bit more of what's going on in terms of how long of the session there is left to go. It's still partially cloudy. Air temperature 25.5 degrees Celsius. Track temperature fast approaching 44 degrees. We're about a minute and 45 left until the end of qualifying, but Zampolini has put in a best effort of a 22.586. Kulharvi, I'll give him credit where credit is due. Over the course of the session, he started to build a bit more confidence in the number 3 Chevy Silverado, and that is one of the good things with AMX Global. We do try and mix things up. We do try and bring a bit of variety. But one of the things that I would love to see on AMX Global, but I know for a fact that we can't broadcast it, is the fact that the IndyCar license. I'd love to see an IndyCar race, but I'd love to. I know for a fact that we can. I'm hoping that at one point we get the W12 Mercedes-Benz Formula One cars back on. We do like a proper good old F1 race. That'd be absolutely cool to see. I know that we have shown that before here on AMX Global. But the variety that we've got, later on this week we've got Clio's, TCR, Porsche Cup cars, we've got the GR86s, and upcoming, as we head towards the end of Season 2, Radicals, Veloster and Elantra TCRs, we've got the Silverados and the next-gen class cars. Funnily enough, the next, race 24 for AMX5 is, bang.
Oh.
That was a bit of a hit there for Gaston Kulharvi. He's had to abort that lap. And that brings us neatly towards the end of qualifying as Fabio Zampolini has put it on pole position for this 30-lap race. So, yeah, we've got a lot more to come. We've even got the good old Kia Optima coming back a little bit later on. We've even got the Ford Legends 34 Silhouette Coupe, TCRs, the Formula Ford 1600s, GT3s make a return as Fabio. He biffs it into the barriers as well, going across the line, smoke billowing from the front. But Zampolini takes pole in this particular race in fine style on his final qualifying lap. Last lap was a 22.6, so he wasn't too far off of his pole position lap time, but that concludes the session. So it will be Fabio Zampolini that will be on pole position for AMX5 race number 20 here at USA International Speedway with the 2013 Chevy Silverado trucks. Gaston Kulharvi will be alongside him on the front row, and Diego Villarreal will be on position number 3. And there we have the official iRacing pace car. Rolling starts are de rigueur both in NASCAR and in NASCAR trucks. I'm really interested to see how this is going to unfold, because we always see this with Diego Villarreal, Brad, is that he won't qualify to see his repping Hot Wheels on the number 46, to be completely honest with you. He either seems to get the better run on everybody else, but then sometimes it doesn't quite work in his favour, does it?
Yeah, it's a big toss-up, and I feel like we talk about it a lot, but it is one of those things that you carry over from rookie iRacing. You learn not to qualify, actually, whenever you're a rookie in iRacing. If you are just looking for survival, your best chance usually is to not qualify and just ride around, avoid the carnage in front of you, and you usually end up with a good result. And I think that honestly for Diego Villarreal, that is something he's carried over. And I mean, it's worked for him. He's got $672 in his pocket this season. Average earning of just shy of $14 US per race. I mean, it works. And I'm not going to knock him because it works.
Yeah, we are gearing up and ready for the green flag to wave. With 30 laps of racing, the NASCAR trucks go around this 3/4 mile banked circuit. 30 laps. So Zampolini on pole, Will Harvey will be alongside Villarreal in third. Pace car in pit road. Now green flag waves and the revs rise. We're underway here at USA International Speedway. Zampolini leads Harvey heading into T1. Beyond Villarreal looks to the bottom part of the, gets as close to the yellow line as he dares, as Harvey's trying to force an opportunity to come his way. Back end of the number 3 looking a little bit loose entering into the corner. After the opening lap, Zampolini has a lead of just under 0.3 of a second, close to 28.164. As they come through onto the backstretch, out of T to turn 2. As Harvey very close to the wall on the outside. Ducks down towards the yellow line as far as they dare. But that's a lovely sound, isn't it, Brad?
You don't get anything else like it unless you come to NASCAR. That is one of the good things, is you get that raw engine sound, and it's just, you listen to it rev up all the way to the corner entry, and then you just lift, let it coast, and repeat that over and over, or in this case 60 times. It's a nice sound,
especially when they're going up to 7.5 on the rev counter plus change, and then like literally nearly up to 8,000 RPM, third gear, 80 miles an hour, tight on the apex, out of the corner, and they're not even changing gear. They're getting to like nearly 200 kph, which is 120 miles an hour. So the good thing is these 625 horsepower NASCAR trucks have a lot of grunt. I mean, like, you can hear it. He's still keeping like just over 5k on the rev counter, 5.5k as they come out of the corner. Across the line again, we're already onto lap number 6 out of 30, and Harvey is keeping Zampolini very much on the honest side here. I think he's used the practice session and the qualifying session just to sort of gauge the track itself, but by having Zampolini in front of him, he's got a bit more experience on the ovals to really sort of help him just to measure where to brake, when to turn in, when to rotate the truck, as they're coming out of turn 2 now and onto the backstretch once again. Now onto lap number 7 out of 30. This race is going to go very quickly, folks. And Harvey, I think, is doing a pretty stellar job at the moment, even though Zampolini is leading by nearly half a second.
Yeah, Harvey's just hanging in there, and it's always easier to be that second truck in line than it is to be the first truck in line. Part of it, too, is you get a little bit of slipstream, which we talk about a lot in GT racing, Formula racing. You talk about slipstreams and, you know, the air in front being kind of cut through. You get the same effect in NASCAR, too. Even in cars, trucks, you get that same effect. It makes it a little bit easier, even though the track's so short. You get a little bit more of a run through down the straights and through the corners, and you can kind of carry up momentum that way. But also, the person behind can push a little bit harder and judge what you're doing. As you alluded to, you know, you can kind of watch, see where they're braking, see what they're doing, figure out how to be just a little bit better. It gives you something to push on, as opposed to just driving clean open air, nothing in front, and saying, okay, this is this line, this is this line. And, you know, you might pick up on something. Harvey might have just picked on something that Zampolini's doing and said, hey, I'm going to borrow that and I'm going to use that. And it's, you know, maybe found him a 10th or 2 to just keep right on the back of Zampolini, which is going to be important. But, you know, it's one thing to stay right on the back bumper of these trucks, another thing to try to pass them. And on a short track like this, you have to be committed, and you have to set it up a lap or 2 laps early, and really be committed to getting that pass done. Zampolini's kind of opened the gap up just over half a second now, but there is also tire degradation and learning to conserve your tires. Of course, 30 laps, flat out the whole time, your tires are going to die down as we go. And Kulhavy may just back out a little bit, save his tires, and then start pushing a bit more near the end of this race. We're already on lap 12. We're about to start lap 13, but there's a little bit of strategy to play as well as the drivers go through, and it's really just about, it's a big balancing game, especially in the trucks. And people think oval racing is just making left turns.
Yeah, fastest lap of the race so far, Zampolini, 22.707. Kulhavy actually not that far behind, 42 thousandths off, 22.749. And you can see the terminal speed per lap, so that is constantly changing. 200 kilometers an hour by Diego Villarreal. It's about 120 miles an hour plus a little bit on top, as we still keep with the two at the sharp end of the grid. Zampolini continuing to lead the way. He's trying to get a full score of $30 US, 25 for the W, 5 for fastest lap, which he does hold at this moment. And as Brad alluded to, it is a strategic game of chess with these trucks, because you do sometimes find that if you go a bit too hot into the corners, you're going to outbrake yourself. You're going to possibly have less rotation available to you going through all four corners on this 3/4 mile bank circuit here in central Florida, effectively, even though this track does not exist in real life, but it is a welcome addition to the iRacing service. And yeah, I mean, sectors are quite comparable between Zampolini and Kulhavy at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, I've been watching the timing boards, which shout out to our broadcast team and everyone in the back that's set this up and gotten this going. I mean, even on, just a 3/4 mile track, 22 seconds a lap, kind of watching as the sector times click in, Kulhavy's actually going a little bit faster right now through sectors compared to Fabio, which is kind of impressive. He's starting to kind of push things through a little bit, which is going to prove beneficial for him. If he can just keep that momentum up for a few laps, he can find himself in contention, and then he's just got to, push his nose up the inside, get a little bit forceful with it, and, bump and run Zampolini if he wants, or just try to throw his nose down the inside and catch Zampolini off guard. Those are the two main ways that you pass on short tracks: bump and run, or it's just put yourself up with enough of a run off a corner exit that you put your truck there and you force them to go on the high line, which is not what you want to do on these short tracks.
So you're probably looking at the bottom of the screens wondering, why are they showing us these sector intervals? Well, if there's a minus, it means that the car that is actually at the top of, so like say between Zampolini and Kulhavy, we saw that Zampolini was actually quicker than Kulhavy, but as the race has progressed, I mean, look, 3/1000ths quicker is Kulhavy in comparison with Zampolini. Now it's switched the other way, so the pendulum kind of swings as we're on to about to hit 2/3 race distance in about half a lap's time. Again, we get this wonderful rear camera shot, and Kulhavy was at one point about close to 8/10ths behind Zampolini. That gap has come down by about 3.5 tenths. Kulhavy last time around was a little bit quicker. Very, very marginal this time around. 6/1000ths between the pair. The gap's still sort of fluctuating at about 4.5 tenths of a second as we head on our way to complete lap number 21 out of 30. But yeah, Kulhavy again is just like saying to Zampolini, saying, you know what, it's a good thing I'm behind you, as I'm learning a trick or two. And he'll be able to parlay that into future NASCAR or NASCAR truck races that we have here on AMX Global. Don't forget, you can head to amxrace.com for further information. There is still time to sign up and get yourselves some cool US dollars in your back pocket if you're an iRacing rookie, or if you are amongst some of the aliens that we have in this competition, which is running all the way through to the last week of June. And we already have a couple of drivers, such as Diego Villarreal, very close to the wall there. Hopefully he's not scraping off that lovely Hot Wheels paint job he's got on that number 46.
Yeah, I'd like to see the right-hand side of that truck and see what he's done there. He's sliding a little bit. I think his tires are just kind of lit up. through 6 to go, and a little bit of a love tap there. Nothing too bad. Nothing too bad. His truck's still going in a straight-ish line. Maybe a little bit of crinkling there on the right front, but hey, it's still drivable. He can still put it in a straight line. He's surviving, and it's working for him. This battle, Alex, is where it's getting spicy. 0.3 of a second separating them now. 5 laps to go here.
Yep. And gap now 0.3. Now, the big question is, well, the last lap time, it was a 23.746 for Zampolini. Kulharvi, 23.642. They're going to come across the line again very shortly to complete lap number 26. So then it'll be 4 to go. When we have the white flag out, I'm sure that Kulharvi will have something to say about the matter. Zampolini is 5th in the overall rankings on the global leaderboard with 1,018 drivers, $18. Ahead of him is Kulharvi, with Senjay, Valero and Gaspar. That is the reverse order of the top 5. So Kyle Gaspar, who we haven't seen in quite a few broadcasts actually, might be quite busy otherwise doing other campaigns at the moment, but that gap is looking closer and closer. Kulharvi was very, very low towards the yellow line, heading into turns 1 and 2. So we're going to have 2 to go after this. Zampolini still leads. Gap is just over 0.2 of a second as they head into turn 1. Kulharvi a little bit lower initially, but then gets the truck swung a little bit wider. Now he's really in the he's got the whole shot here. Just under 1/10.5. He sticks his nose up the inside, and we're going to have 1 to go. White flag will be out this time. Zampolini holding on for dear life. White flag in the air. 1 to go. And Kulharvi looks up the inside. Zampolini's opened the door. Kulharvi's about halfway alongside. They're going to get the run of turn number 2 down the back stretch for the final time. Kulharvi looks to the inside. Is he going to get the jump on Zampolini? Yes, he is. And it's going to be a drag race to the finish. But it's going to be Zampolini out of the final corner. Is it not? No, it's going to be Kulharvi. 95 thousandths of a second. After 30 laps of racing, Kulharvi was waiting. And you know what? There's a little smile on the face on Fabio Zampolini saying, damn, you did me. Brilliant stuff.
Kulharvi set that up starting all the way on lap 1. He sat back, he conserved his tires a little bit and just relaxed, and then he pushed it the last 10 laps. And if you watched how he started approaching the corner from about lap 25 on, he knew that he was going to go for it in that last lap if he could make it stick. And 0.09 of a second is all it took, less than 1/10 for Kulharvi to come out on Zampolini there, out of turn 4, drag race to the line, and that is why oval racing is fun.
It's such a tactical game, and that was a perfect explanation there, Brad. I have to say thank you for that. So Gaston Kulharvi picks up $25. Fabio Zampolini gets second. That's $20, but he also gets $5 the fastest lap of the race. So it's one of those things. The prize pool has been changed in the revamp, the refresh. And Diego Villarreal, well, he still gets points. He still gets US dollars in his bank account come the end of the season as he finishes P3. But again, a perfect personification of how NASCAR trucks and NASCAR, when we have the next gen cars running here on AMX Global, it really, really is good to see the tactical. There's such a different strategy with going on a sports car with a road course. Oval racing is a skill set I think very, very much undervalued in the world of motorsport, not just on sim racing, but also in real life. And that was just textbook. We could just see Zampolini going, right, I've got this. And Kulharvi went, no, you don't. I've got your number, mate. I've got your number. And he was watching all the way through the race. He was spot on with your analysis there, Brad.
Yeah, it's one of those that as you learn oval racing, you kind of learn those trends. And if you oval race, you know this. and I've told this story before, my first win in oval, I set it up for 10 laps. It took me 10 laps to finally put that pass down, and I pulled very similar to what Kohlhavi did coming out of the final corner. I floored it on the exit and took it through, and that was my first win in iRacing, was ovals at Boston. Super just, there's a lot of technicality that goes into oval racing, and you mentioned it earlier. Kimi Räikkönen raced trucks. One of arguably the greatest F1 drivers of recent times raced trucks and did considerably decent at it. So, and I mean, he's even said it too, that there's a different skill set and analysis that goes into it. But it's something that's unique and it's fun. And again, it's not just as simple as push the pedal, turn left. There's a lot that goes into it. And when moments like that happen, you don't get those moments really in any other motorsport. It's NASCAR that you really see that, which makes it fun.
Exactly. Kimi Räikkönen, the last ever driver for Scuderia Ferrari to win a Formula One driver's title. That was way back when, 2007. Don't forget, you can hit us up on social media. You can see all the icons down below. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. It might be one click from you, but it means a hell of a lot to us. Hit the follow button on Twitch. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Head to amxrace.com. Sign-ups are still open for our next race coming up very, very shortly. Also on TikTok, because coming up next, we go back to AMX 0 and we head to the iconic WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. And as I said, it's an American double bill. We're going to go back to the Caddy Cts-V. A big thank you to Automatics and BenQ for their continued support. We are, of course, here at AMX Global, powered by Upbit. Myself and Brad will be back after a little bit of a breather, so we'll go back racing to Monterey, California and Laguna Seca, the Caddy Cts-Vs for AMX 0. See you in a bit, folks.
Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Brake reminder and force brake help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force brake activates to rest your eyes. Eye care you. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Brake reminder and force brake help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force brake activates to rest your eyes. Eye care you. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode. Forget the time. Light reminder lets you know. Totally immersed in the movie? Minimize software won't distract you. Break reminder and force break help manage your screen time. When it's almost time, a countdown starts. Force break activates to rest your eyes. Eye care you. Safeguard your eyes. Safeguard your eyes smartly and easily with an eye care monitor and eye care U software. Working on a paper? Turn on low blue light mode. Is the sun too bright? Let brightness intelligence do its work. Now better. Writing code gets your eyes tired? Try coding mode.
Well, we continue race day 33. We move from AMX 5 to AMX 0. And what's more, it's the second part of our American double bill. We head from ovals to road courses. What's more, Brad, it's great to see that we have another icon of, you know, sports car racing of yesteryear, so to speak, because of the car that we're going to be using tonight. But still, it's great that we've had one of I think our closest finish so far in AMX Global Beta Season 2. But this is race 29 of AMX Zero. Of course, it used to be known as the free tip for our mid-season revamp. And the track, well, if you can recognise that corner, you know exactly where we are. We are at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. And we'll get Brad to fill us in on the little bit of details about the track and also the Cadillac Cts-V. It's the full course. Air temperature close to 26 degrees Celsius, track temperature 50 degrees Celsius. We're in Monterey, California. The thing is that Laguna Seca is Spanish for dry lagoon. Didn't know that. Yeah, you might want to put that in deeple.com with translation software and find that out for yourselves. But coming into this, we did have the 2 times multiplier all the way through the month of May, but it's now back down to the usual tier as it was previously. $50 full for the total payout. But please ignore those graphics on the left-hand side of your screen, folks, because you can find it out through amxrace.com what the actual points are, how many dollars you'll earn. But AMX Zero, Corentin Guiñez leads the way on $115 ahead of Caio Gaspar, Gael Valero, and Gaston Culharvey. Covered by $25, that's the top 4. Victor Miranda, $82. Octavio Rondeletto, a regular on AMX Zero, is in 6th ahead of Diego Villarreal, Manuel Scully, Fabio Zampolini, and Josh Perween. But you know what? I'm going to hand it over to my good buddy Brad. Talk to us about WeatherTech Laguna Seca and also talk to us about the Caddy Cts-V. Over to you, Brad.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. So, WeatherTech Raceway used to be known as Mazda Raceway. Laguna Seca, it's a classic road race circuit. It is, you know it by the corkscrew, and if you don't know it by the corkscrew, you should know it by the corkscrew. Originally built in 1957, and it's hosted literally every North American road racing series, from Can-Am to Trans Am, IMSA Camel GT, Kart Indy cars. It's hosted, of course, the Mazda series, the American Le Mans series, the Rolex Historic Automobiles, home of Skip Barber Racing School, which if you're familiar with iRacing, you should be familiar with Skip Barber Racing School. It hosts the Red Bull USGP as well as a round of the MotoGP World Championship. So not only home to racing cars, also races motorcycles, 3.57 kilometers, 228 meters up in Monterey, California. It's a super fun track, and it's one of those that every sim racer has done at least one lap on. I'm not going to say you've done a great lap on it, but every sim racer has done at least one lap on Laguna in some form of sim racing game. Whatever that game may be, I don't know. And I will tell you, one of the fun cars to do laps around Laguna Seca is the Cadillac Cts-V. I'm going to steal a line from GM. This is not your father's Cadillac. This is 460 brake horsepower V8 produced by K-Tech Engine Development. The chassis is developed by a company called Pratt & Miller. Pratt & Miller also made the C6R GT1 that dominated IMSA and Le Mans for multiple years, and also pushed Corvette to the front of GT2. The Cts-V just lives up to its heritage, and many famous drivers have driven this car. 460 brake horsepower V8, American muscle. It is so much fun. Cadillac, when you think of Cadillac, you think of sleek, you think of class, you think of richness, and then you just throw a bunch of muscle into it, sling it around a racetrack, and have a lot of fun. And that's what you get when you throw the Cts-V out on a racetrack in race spec. It's so much fun.
Definitely. And of course, a lot of people would synonymously link the word Cadillac with Escalade. Yes, of course, the big SUV, but we're not talking about that here. We're talking about a purebred race car. There is the 327, Fabio Zampolini. Of course, the corkscrew turns 8 and 8A. 55-foot drop, around about 500 meters. People might remember the duel between Casey Stoner and Valentino Rossi a few years ago. I think it was in the late 2000s, where they went side by side. One went exit stage right and one stayed on the track. I can't remember which one did, which one didn't, but that's by the by. Laguna Seca is tight, It is challenging the undulation, the camber, the elevation changes. I mean, especially as we see Juncos Racing's Octavio Rondoletto go down the dip into turn number 2 here at the Andretti hairpin. Let's stick with Octavio at the moment as we're coming towards the end of free practice. And it's going to be into the right-hander here at 3. So it's a double right-hand complex through turns 3 and into 4 as he kicks up a little bit of dust. The left rear wheel on the approach through turns 3 and 4. Oh, Manuel Scully has decided to drive tonight, so we have got a few more joining in the lead up to qualifying as free practice has concluded. We'll hopefully get an onboard to give you a real rundown of how challenging Laguna Seca can be. Gaston Coolharvey, quickest of anybody, 1 minute 25.069. Zampellini, 0.166 behind in second position. Rondoletto, 1.2 seconds off of Coolharvey. Manuel Scully literally jumped into free practice with about a couple of seconds to spare. And Diego Villarreal is, of course, not setting any lap time, but the cars are now out. Qualifying has started. Let's see if we can. Let's actually see if we can go on board with Octavio Rondoletto in the number 48 and actually go into the cockpit of the car itself once we cross the start-finish line. God, look at the flame wrap on Gaston Coolharvey's right there, Brad. That's definitely colourful, isn't it?
That's good taste. That's a good livery. That is what we use trading paints for. And who was that just took a right turn down the straightaway? Rondoletto, sir. The track goes straight and then makes a left. You don't go. You don't turn right there. There's a wall.
Yeah. At least he made sure he returned to the garage before he got a virtual invoice in the post. But yeah, Gaston Coolharvey, winner of the AMX. Oh, and that was Zampellini's had a moment coming out of the corkscrew. Might need to check your virtual Nomex after that one, my good friend, because that's definitely not a place you want to be losing the back end of the Caddy Cts-V. We're going to have a replay here. And yeah, this is heading into turn 4, I believe. So he just goes through. It's a left turn here. Goes up the hill. So this is through T5. Back right goes onto the dust and left front does clatter into the wall, but not exactly significantly bad there. Here's the number 24. That's Manuel Scully coming out of turn number 11. As Gaston Coolharvey's gone purple in the opening sector. See if we can ride on board with the number 24, or actually ride on board in the cockpit. There we go. We're on board with Gaston Coolharvey, heading under the Mother's Bridge up through into the left-hander here at turn number 5. He's fastest the opening 2 sectors. He's going to go underneath the bridge here, the VP Racing Fuels Bridge, into the left here at 6. And we're going up the infamous Rahal Straight, heading towards turn 7. And then here is the elevation change, into 8, into 8-8, down the corkscrew. And you've got camber to deal with. Coolharvey wrestling the wheel as he goes through Rainy Curve at turn 9. And through this this right-hander, bites the brakes, keeps it in 3rd gear, and goes through into turn number 11. Gaston Coolharvey will be the first one to set a lap time and thereby a benchmark, as we've just eclipsed 3 minutes out of 10. And he's just put in a lap time of a 1:25.163. Zampellini now on an outlap as Coolharvey loses it through the Andretti hairpin.
Andretti hairpin is surprisingly difficult for what it is. You would think, left-hand hairpin, not too bad, and then you hit the Andretti hairpin, and it will smack you around, and it does not care, and it does not matter what you think. If you are not fully in control going into that hairpin, it will send you. Same thing with the corkscrew. I cannot tell you how many times right there where Rondoletto just went through on the bottom of the hill at the corkscrew at 8A, how many times I have spun a car on the exit of the corkscrew, and I've done that a time or two. Maybe not as plainly as Rondoletto just got away with there, going through the rainy curve, but I've done that a couple of times too. So kudos to Rondeletto for keeping it together there going down the main straight.
Yeah, so this is a 10-minute qualifying session, 12-lap race here at Laguna Seca. And is quite near to, oh God, Pizza Talk has started in chat. Thank you very much to our team over at AMX in Korea for starting that conversation. Where are you going to order? Where are you going to order from? Pizza Hut, Domino's, Papa John's? Your choice. There we go, Papa John's. It's official. Papa John's, they need to get sponsoring a stat, Brad.
That would be... Their home is just a couple hours away from where I live, so I might make a road trip, see if I show up on the doorstep, give them a couple AMX streams, and just see if they might give us a little bit.
Oh, the argument started already. Cooper P said, rather go for Domino's. All right, less of the pizza chat. Let's concentrate on qualifying. Sam Polini's gone purple in sectors 3 and 4. He's across the line now. His lap time is a 1:25.390. Puts him P2 ahead of Manuel Scully in the number 24. Oh my goodness, Brad, you've even started in the chat now as well, haven't you? Stop it.
Hey,
stop it.
I gotta interact. Listen, I just need to make sure that everyone knows the best pizza on the planet is gonna be a meat lovers with garlic parm, not marinara sauce. And speaking of pizza lovers, Coffee.
That was a code brown right there. Code brown big time. Octavio Rondeletto, in the meantime, has stuck it on provisional pole by 3/1000ths of a second. 1 minute 25.159 for the Argentinian. And Cooper P saying, yeah, pizza just crashed. Oh, you think? Yeah, he was close to the wall. That's what you get. That's what you hit when you eat too much pizza.
You could say he dropped his pizza on the floor, in fact.
So this is going to be coming out of the... Oh, this is going to be through the corkscrew, isn't it? It turns in, down the hill. Oh, catches the gravel on the inside and just spins it like a good one. Well held, though, Gaston. Looks like he's gone with the vegetarian option. He's got a few green bell peppers on that delivery.
You're making me hungry. I had dinner, and I'm going to have to go get pizza now after this. So I'll post on Discord what pizza I get, and I'll post it on Twitter, too, just so everyone can see.
You'd have to put that on Instagram as well, wouldn't you? For a penny in for a pound.
Oh, yeah. Instagram. You know the rule. Phone eats first.
Yep. True. And you can see at the bottom of your screens, there's all the social links that you can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, TikTok. You can actually find us on Facebook as well. So there is an AMX Global page on there. Don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed to us on YouTube, please click that subscribe button. One click might mean nothing to you, but it means the world to us. It just helps with regards to getting the word out about AMX Global. Head to amxrace.com for further information about the upcoming races that we've got in store over the course of the remainder of Beta Season 2, which does conclude on the 25th of June. So we have got basically 4 race days every single week up until the 25th, Sunday, June 25th, which is when our final day of competition will conclude for Beta Season 2. Gaston Kulhavi was fastest in the opening sector. Anybody? As we're coming down to the final minute and a quarter. Oh, he's gone purple in sector 4 now. How good a lap would this be for Kulhavi? Because sometimes, even if you don't improve in certain sectors, you can get the lap. You can bring the lap together here. It's the number 2, the pizza edition of Caddy Cts-V. What's the lap time? Yes, he goes pole and by a massive margin. 1 minute 24.696. And that puts Ottavio Rondoletto down to the outside of the front row, and the gap is quite significant, 0.463 seconds.
Well, Harvey just put down a saucy lap, and he tossed the crust just right to get that going. I'm curious to see if Rondoletto, Zamperlini, or Scully can respond, as all three are on the track at the moment. You see Scully's been down in every sector except for the third, so he's got a bit to give there. Rondoletto, I don't think is on, or no, he's on track. He's who we're looking at the moment, but I don't think he's on par for getting something together here as we go through. And I think Kohalvi is just going to sit there and celebrate. He's just going to hang out for a minute. He's probably chowing on some pizza right now, if I would imagine, because that was a impressive lap time through. Checkered flag fell. Fabio Zamperlini's going to park it there on turn 1 as well. Rondoletto's still, or Kohalvi's still just hanging out. Rondoletto and Scully are both down in the first 2 sectors, so unless they pull out some insane pace for these final few sectors, I don't think they're going to improve to beat Kohalvi. However, I've been wrong before. And also, Alex, Diego Villarreal will be starting from the back, as we know and we love.
You know what they say, the more things change, the more they stay the same. So Villarreal will start from 5th position. And we are on board with Ottavio Rondoletto, personal bests in sectors 3 and 4. The number 48 for Juncos Esports comes out of the 11th and final corner as the V8 roars across the line. What's the lap time going to be? Is it an improvement? It is, but not enough to close the gap to Gaston Kohalvi, aka V8 Pizza. He is still chilling on the inside of the Andretti hairpin as Manuel Scully does not improve in the number 24, stays 4th. The session very shortly will time out as Kohalvi returns to garage. Scully's still trying to put the power down, but the server has timed out, and that is qualifying concluded as the Porsche pace car now makes its way into the start-finish straight. Here's the results from qualifying in AMX 0 race 29 here for WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Gaston Kohalvi will start from pole position in the number 2. Alongside him on the front row will be Juncos Racing Esports, Ottavio Rondoletto. Fabio Zamperlini will line up on the inside of row number 2 in 3rd place. Manuel Scully will be alongside him on that row, and Diego Villarreal will start from 5th position. So we're just waiting for Kohalvi, Zamperlini and Villarreal to grid up and ready up ahead of our 12 laps of racing. There will be a full pace car lap because with these cars it is rolling start. And again, brake and tyre temperature around this circuit. Okay, yeah, it's 50 degrees track temperature here, Brad, but still to get through that warming phase, you know, scrub off the bitumen off the tyres, get enough brake temp so it heats the carcass of the alloy wheels and the tyres. That's going to really help the drivers have their weapons sharp going into the Andretti hairpin on the opening lap.
Your worst nightmare as a driver in a extremely heavy Cadillac Cts-V is to go steaming down the main straight, see the green flag from Barney the flagman, steaming down the main straight and go up the hill, start coming downhill for the Andretti hairpin, hit the brakes, and have stone cold brakes. That is your biggest nightmare. Your second biggest nightmare is to hook the wheel to the left, have a pizza car on your inside, or the wonderful Fabio Zamperlini there in the Brazilian livery on your inside, and then find out that he has cold tires, has no grip, and just slams into your door. So warm up on a pace lap is super, super important. And if you watch while these drivers go through, you're going to see them weaving around. You're going to see them kind of on and off the brakes a bit. You'll see the front end of that caddy kind of dip down and come back up as they kind of work the brakes. That way they can get everything in that operating window. That way, as soon as that green flag falls and they get going, they are just ready to go.
Oh, right. Interesting development. Diego Villarreal did not make it onto the grid to ready up. So that's it's a bit interesting, to be honest with you. I've never seen that happen. He was in the server in practice, in the server in qualifying. Okay, didn't turn any laps. Completely truthful here. But that is unusual for Diego Villarreal to not make it to a race start. So the Porsche pace car leads the field around this 2.2 mile circuit, 11 turns and all, significant elevation changes, based in Wine County, in wine country in Monterey, California, just outside of Salinas, and they are going to start getting into formation. But the good thing is, like we have with the Nascar trucks, these V8 powered Caddy Cts-Vs sound absolutely glorious. You hear that exhaust note.
It is. GT cars are just so nice. They're something else. And the Cts-V, that exhaust note on it is just perfect. It's one of few cars that just does it right. And really, GM put a lot of time into this car. There was a lot of development and a lot of money that was thrown at this car. And even just the stock street version of this car sounds amazing. It's one of those cars that, even though it's not produced anymore, I would give a pretty penny to own one.
Yeah, considering the fact that there's the Cadillac Blackwing out at the moment, which is the last ever manual H-pattern gated sports car that is rivaling, that's the Cts-V sedan, it's rivaling the BMW M5 of all cars. Very shortly, the iRacing Porsche pace car will peel into pit road. Now we get steeled and ready. Barney will be ready with the green flag as they come out of the 11th and final corner. And the revs start to build. The V8s roar into life. Green flag waves. We are underway here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, as Gaston Coulthard leads Octavio Rondeletto into the Andretti hairpin. The opening lap out of 12, both tight to the apex. Zampolini and Scoli now completing four-strong grid as they make their way through turn 3 for the opening time. Harvey and Rondeletto just under 3.5 tenths separate them. Just under half a second separate Zampolini and Scoli as they go out of the exit in turn number 4 and through into the next left-hander, which will start to take them up the hill here at Laguna Seca. Through turn number 5 and up through in towards turn 6, which will then bring them onto the Rahal Straight. Family Rahal known very, very well. Bobby and Graham, father and son. Bobby is the main people behind Team RLL, running the BMW M V8 Hybrid in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship this year. Rondeletto has really got a bit between his teeth, and he's closing on Coulthard for that race lead.
One of the differences that we're going to see here versus, as Rondeletto gets a little cheeky there into the gravel just off of the curb, a little bit wide, doesn't hurt him, but could have been scary for a minute. One of the big differences we're going to see with GT racing and road racing versus oval racing in the trucks is we watched that kind of the plan was from lap 1 all the way through for stealing that win. Rondeletto is going to be going for this every single corner. He is not going to sit back for a moment, let Coulthard get away, or just settle back and try to let things sit through. Because the more you kind of relax, the more gap you give, the harder that gets to close it. And Coulthard is just going to be pedal to the metal the whole way through. Zampolini and Scoli are going to be trying to hold on as well. And I thought Diego Villarreal was going to start from the pit lane there, but it looks like he has completely missed the race start. Unfortunately for him, that means at this point in time, there will be no points awarded for him at the end of this race. But two very good 2x2 battles, and Scoli with a bit of an error there going up the hill, and that can spell disaster for your race. You get too far back from the car in front, and that can absolutely just ruin your race.
Yeah, that just goes to show how quickly things can turn on its head. Manuel Scoli now, best part of 2 seconds behind Fabio Zampolini as we ride on board on the left front fender of Octavio Rondeletto. As both he and Gaston Coulthard make their way out of T11. Both cars get a bit of a wiggle whilst applying the power out of that 11th and final corner. Gap is about 0.4 of a second. We're on to lap number 3 out of 12, and Octavio Rondeletto puts in the fastest lap of the race, 1:25.093. Terminal velocity for Manuel Scoli is actually the quickest out of anybody on the previous lap. 230 kilometers an hour, which is bordering on 150 miles per hour. Rondeletto keeping Zampolini very, very honest lead. It's $10 for a win, six for second. And then fastest lap of the race is $2. So Rondeletto, he doesn't win this race, he'll still have $8 in his pocket, because at the moment, as we're about to hit 1/4 race distance here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, $6 for second, $2 for the fastest lap as they head through the corkscrew at turns 8 and 8A, 55-foot drop, around 550 meters. Just see from this rear bumper cam on the back of Cool Harvey, Rondeletto is quicker by a near fraction of sectors 1 and 4. They're heading into turn number 11. Rondeletto looking left, then looking right, trying to get the crisscross coming out of the 11th and final corner. That gap is now going to dwindle as they come across the line. 1/4 of the way through the race, we're on to lap number 4. He's right with him. He's bump drafted Cool Harvey right down the start finish straight. He's going to hang it around the outside, through into the Andretti hairpin. And that was a very, very noble attempt from Rondeletto. He's going to look towards the inside into turn 3. He was about 1/4 of the way alongside Cool Harvey. Cool Harvey had overspeed coming through the exit of the corner as they bump over the sausage curves on the inside of turn number 4. Rondeletto, though, is still not relinquishing that pressure on Cool Harvey. He's got to be very, very wary. He does not want to make a mistake, especially if you go into the corkscrew and you give the person in front a slight tap from behind. However, Fabio Zampolini is now a 1.5 seconds away from this battle for the race lead, so you can bet your bottom dollar that he definitely wants to put his 2 cents into the party as they make their way through the corkscrew at turns 8 and 8A, now through into Rainy Curve at turn 9. Rondeletto's got a head of speed. He's looking to the left again, this time through into turn 10. There's a little touch between the two, and Cool Harvey's around. Cool Harvey is around. That's the slightest touch. It can happen. It can happen. And you know what? Kudos to Ottavio Rondeletto, who has decided to hold back and has done the sportsmanship thing and is letting Cool Harvey go back through. I have to say, I doff my cap, and I can do that quite literally because I'm wearing a baseball cap at the moment. Well played, Ottavio Rondeletto. Admitting the mistake, apologising by letting Cool Harvey go through. That means Mr. Fabulous, Fabio Zampolini, is now in the race lead. It's a 4.3 second advantage at the moment after 4 laps.
Yeah, that Rondeletto-Cool Harvey battle was intense to watch, and that was one of those moments where you know the driver behind is faster, and it's just the issue with the Cadillacs. They're so big, and it's hard to put the big car in a little space, but you have to try to force it through. And I think just going there through turn 10, it was a case of Rondeletto was carrying speed. I think Cool Harvey got a little loose and kind of checked up a little bit, and Rondeletto wasn't expecting it, because when you're within 1/10 of the car in front, the reaction time is minimal to none. You have to be very confident the car in front knows what's going on. So we're going to get a replay here by the AMX crew. And yeah, going here through the Rainy Curve, turn 9, and they're going to come around. And then I think, yeah, the exit was just compromised a bit, which compromised the entry into 10. You could see the brake light come on for just a second, and then that is all she wrote for those two. But as you said, the sportsmanship thing, very, very honorable thing that we see happen all the time here in AMX. And I have to give kudos to every driver for doing that, because you see it all the time. Drivers make a small driving error like that. And now Rondeletto has the pass done on Cool Harvey the right way, through cleanly, no bump and run, nothing crazy like that. But Cool Harvey might get a little bit of payback here on Rondeletto, you know, depending on what comes up, of course. But as we said, you know, the great thing with AMX, we see a lot of sportsmanship between these drivers. The drivers know when they've made a mistake. They've done the dirty move. They've done something that, you know, sometimes you'd have stewards penalize. And the drivers are very, very willing to just kind of pull over, throw the race away, and say, hey, that's my fault. I knocked you out of this race. Take the position back. Let's go back to racing. And let's put on a show and do this the right way.
Yeah, it was a very clean move coming down the start-finish straight out of T11 as Rondeletto's wide. He's all 4 wheels onto the dust, and Cool Harvey has got back through into third position. What they now need to start doing is take lumps of time out of Manuel Scully, who's leading the way. Started fourth, now second. Zampolini started on the inside of row number 2. He's now leading the way, 3.7 seconds out of the number 24. So Brazil leads the way as again Rondoletto finding more than the track. He's using every part of WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca and then some when it comes to off track. I mean, talk about circumventing track limits. That was a clear Gymkhana style. Well, I'm going to hang it high, wide and handsome around the outside to see if I can keep the throttle planted. And the answer to the Octavio Rondoletto was a definitive yes when he tried that. Coming out of the final corner, out of turn 9 and into 10, just goes to show that when you're carrying so much speed and I mean, look at the steering inputs from Rondoletto. Like the minute he tries to put the power down, back end's trying to snap on him, and he's having to quickly correct it. So yeah, to be honest with you, and what's even more important is the fact that Manuel Scully in the number 24, who's running P2, has had the fastest lap of the race. It's Rondoletto again. He's doing it again. He's off again on the circuit. Oh, dearie me. Rondoletto, I think, might have overcooked the tyres with quite a few off-track excursions. We're now going to go to a replay very shortly. Here it is. And this is the moment where... So you're going to see the first moment, and that was coming up the hill in towards turn 6, going onto the Rahal Straight. So Will Harvey gets through. Well, that was down the Rahal Straight, going into the corkscrew. So that was the first big slip up. Then he had another one a couple of laps later. There is Fabio Zampolini. It's like a Sunday afternoon drive in the countryside in Monterey for the Brazilian 327. And the only person who has the cojones to put the term politely, folks, has the cojones to bring one of the most colourful, radical SR8 liveries I have ever seen on an iRacing based broadcast, and that is eyelashes on a radical SR8. So that has actually made a few of our reels and our stories on Instagram. So kudos to Fabio for being very, very, let's say, liberal when it comes to livery design.
Fabio's just trying to cement his namesake here in AMX, and if his drive today isn't doing it, I don't know what will. Oh, Scully getting very, very off-road with the corkscrew there. That's, you do that too many times, you're going to damage your suspension, the under tray, the whole car. That was interesting. We got a replay coming up here of Octavio Rondoletto. He is loving this off-track down the rail straight, going down towards turn 7 in the corkscrew. I mean, you can already see the lines from where he was off once, so that he comes right around here. This is going to be around turn 6, and he just does the exact same thing. See the lines where he went off the first time right there, and he just follows them on through. I think we might need to contact WeatherTech and get an extra patch of asphalt around that corner there, around the outside of 6, just for Octavio Rondoletto.
I think you're going to have to get the tractor out and tell them that they've got to smooth out the kitty litter on that particular part of the circuit. Because Rondoletto, I think, if there were stones in that gravel and it was a real-life track, then that would be all over on the circuit, and then straight away you'd have the slippery surface flags out quicker than you could say the word jump. But we're now on to lap number 9 out of 12, so we're nearly at 3/4 distance. It'll be 3 to go next time around, but Gaston Coulthard has broken away from Octavio Rondoletto, who has not exactly had the best run of form. He said, oh yeah, well, I'll come in and do this race. And yeah, qualifying went pretty well. He was on the outside of the front row alongside Gaston Coulthard, who is trying to catch Manuel Scully, and actually last time around took 8/10 out of him on the previous tour. And there is Manuel Scully, who has, as we also saw a little bit earlier on, had an off-track excursion onto the kitty litter himself. So I would imagine that Gaston Coulthard is going to try and start catching him as they go across the line. 1 minute 27.454. Oh, Coulthard's just taken 1.2 seconds out of him quite easily. and Kulharvi made up the majority of the time, sector number 3. So Kulharvi looking to redeem himself in some respects. I mean, obviously the incident between himself and Rondeletto coming out of turn number 10, nothing of his making. I think just looking back at, just reminiscing back to that incident, I would say that's probably more than likely a racing incident, as you said, that Kulharvi sort of got checked up a little bit, and then Rondeletto had nowhere to go, left front contact with the right rear, and Mr. Pizza Car was around and 180 the wrong way. So, but at least the good thing is that if Kulharvi can salvage a little bit of pride by closing in and passing Scully number 24 by the checkered, then yeah, not a bad run, because like Rondeletto seems to be dropping. I mean, he's running in the 126.7, so he's half a second slower than Kulharvi, who is faster than anybody at the moment. And on his previous lap, I mean, the best lap so far is actually, Rondeletto's pitted the car, so I don't know whether he's decided to call time, because he will be effectively over the 80% window for this race. But Kulharvi on that last lap didn't take as much time out of Manuel Scully that I would have thought, as we're now pretty much we are now on our penultimate lap out of 12. Yeah, Rondeletto the car is up on the jacks and the headlights are flashing, so I don't think he's going to be taking any further participation in this race. But nevertheless, 10 out of 12 laps completed. That's more than 80%, so he will get some dollars in his pocket after this one. But run aboard again with what he's actually got coming out of pit road now. But Kulharvi is trying to catch up with Manuel Scully, but I think the tyres might have just dropped off the cliff now.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sense of what Rondeletto just did, and the only thing I can come up with is, that always gives me like a weird feeling in the stomach being on board for that with Kulharvi. It's a weird feeling in the car. I think Rondeletto pit to try to steal the fastest lap, and I wonder if he hit the wall somewhere and we just didn't see it. That's what I think. That's the only things I can make sense of, for him to pit like that with just 2 to go.
We'll make that 1 to go, because Barney's feverishly waving the white flag. We're on to lap 12 out of 12, and Fabio Zampolini 20% of the way through the 12th and final lap. He has nearly a 5.5 second advantage over Manuel Scully in the 24. Kulharvi's within 2.2 seconds of him, but they were pretty much marginal on terms of the lap time delta. Kulharvi was just over a tenth quicker. That's not really going to be enough. Here is Rondeletto. I think you might be right. He might be winding up for a fastest lap of the race. Take those $2 out of Gaston Kulharvi's hands as the Uncross Racing Esports car goes across the line, over the crest, down the dip, into the left-hander here at turn 2, the Andretti hairpin. Tights on the apex. And let's just hope that coming out of turn 6, turn 7, he does not go gravel tracking, because he's been quite an exponent of that at the moment. There is, however, your race leader, Fabio Zampolini, denied by 95 thousandths of a second for the race victory. Out of the final corner, it's going to be a win for Fabulous Fabio. The Brazilian will take the checkered weaves from side to side, and he picks up top prize of $10 here in AMX 0 at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Manuel Scully takes second position, which is 1.3 seconds ahead of Gaston Kulharvi, who's rearranged the front left of that car and now rearranged the car and flipped it. Just for good measure. And Ronda. Go on.
That's probably an appropriate way to finish this race if you're Kulharvi, let's be honest.
It helped him get some screen time, didn't it? There is your winner of this race here at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Parabéns, Fabio Zampolini. Congratulations, well driven. And you know what? He made the best of it. And Rapid Casting say, we can finally see the underside. Yes, it is. It's like a ground effect car underneath. There are your results. Fabio Zampolini takes the win here on race 29 of AMX 0. Manuel Scoli in second. Gaston Culharvey rounds out the top three. Ottavio Rondoletto did not get the fastest lap, but was within 5/10. Well, was within 4/10 of getting it. Diego Villarreal, unfortunately unable to make it to the server for the race. And that concludes, folks, the racing action for race day 33 here on AMX Global. But Brad, you know what? An American doubleheader, two great classes, two great circuits on the iRacing servers. What a way to cap off what has been an interesting weekend, not just of IRL racing, but also a lot happening in sim racing. Moser Racing Endurance Championship powered by Sim Racing GP. ESL R1, the spring majors took place in Munich today. BMW M Sim Cup was also racing at the Glen this weekend. And we have had the Spanish Grand Prix, of course, at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. But what a way to sort of end race 33, which is sort of become our, this point in the week is always our American doubleheader. And I always like the fact that we're mixing it up with the variety. I do say that variety is the spice of life, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And I will say that mid-season rework that the AMX team brought in, where they kind of mix things up and put everything on a set time. I've just been kind of looking at the schedule. I know we talked about it a bit during the truck race, but just looking, TCRs at Red Bull and the Clio Cup at Oran Park, which is going to be on Tuesday night. Just kind of looking forward at some of these races that are coming up are going to be a lot of fun. It mixes it up all the time. But yeah, there's something about that American Sunday night that I really, really like. And I'm 100% biased on that. You can judge me for it. It's fine.
You know what they say? Race on Sunday, sell on Monday. That's the saying, as it always has been in motorsport and the automotive world. Don't forget, you can follow us on the respective social medias. You can see all the handles down below, not just for Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You can also join us on our Discord server. So if you do want to race, head to amxrace.com. We cater for everybody, no matter your skill level. A big thank you to you all for watching tonight. Also, a big thank you goes to Ben Q, Automatics, for their continued support of our coverage of, what we consider to be a friendly, welcoming championship, so to speak. Well, a league, if you will. Also, a big thank you to Upbit for powering our broadcast every single time. Of course, in just under 48 hours, we have AMX5 Race 21, which is going to be Renault Clio Cups at Oran Park. Circuit no longer used, I'm afraid, so another track that has remained in racing folklore, courtesy of iRacing. And then we go to Styria TCR for race number 18 for AMX 20. That's going to be at the Red Bull Ring. So from myself, Alex, from Brad, and from our team over in Korea, a big thank you to everyone behind the scenes for making these broadcasts work. We want to thank you, viewers at home, for interacting with us all the way through the broadcast. See you Tuesday night for race day 34. Till next time, thanks for watching. See you again soon. Goodbye.